Dear Autogefühl fans, today we have a very special car for you. This is the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray C7, means the 7th generation of this very iconic car. The story began in 1953 already, and now, as I said, already in the 7th generation. The generation before was available from 2005 until 2013, and now this one is here. We have the Coupé version with the Targa drop head, and there's also a convertible available. So here in Germany, the price, just to give you an overview, start at 70,000 euros and 3,000 euros more for the convertible. It's pretty cheaper in the US. You can already have one there for 50,000 US dollars. So I'm very envy to all our American guys. And there are several reasons why this car is so special, and it's not only the power. This is definitely a car where you would immediately say, wow, because it has such a dramatic design. It really arouses so much attention, and you know, we have maybe like 150-200 cars per year, and we can really say which car is arousing the most attention, and this one is definitely amongst it. I think the other car that was arousing so much attention was the McLaren 12C, and I mean, that says something, because the McLaren 12C is way more expensive. So everywhere we go, especially in Germany, I mean, in the US it's more common to use such a car. In Germany hardly anyone does, and everywhere where we go, people either say, wow, super car, or I was totally surprised. Even yesterday, someone who didn't know us was just walking around the street, was just turning around, then I was totally surprised, and I don't know why. Obviously this car is very provoking, and I mean, just because of the design and also due to the sound. And I'm really looking forward to your comments. If you own a Corvette, what do you think about these guys? And what are your experiences when driving this car? I'm really anxious to hear that. So starting with the design, well, not the first generation, I think it was the third generation that had the additional name of Stingray, and is because, well, it looks a little bit like a Stingray really, you know, with the wings, and we see this very dramatic design here in the front. And you also see that when you're sitting in the interior, and that makes the car so special, and it's so different from all the other cars, even from all other super sports cars. You see the new headlights here with the 7th generation, which are very interesting. I'm soon going to turn on the car, and then I can also show you the different lightways. And which is very special, I think, as well, is this one here, because you also have that in no other car, and even the number plate is folded in that way. It makes it even more aggressive. So everything is symmetrical, yes, and you don't have just one or two design lines. Everywhere you look around you have a design line. It almost looks like the famous stealth bomber, in my opinion. From the side profile you see the theme is all flat, and I think it's so beautifully done, especially from the side profile. There are hardly any cars that also look that dramatically from the side profile. You also see this small logo of a Stingray at the side as well. And I think which is also pretty nice is that you got this carbon fiber roof on the top there, also catches a lot of views. And what is especially here for the side profile in this version, because this is kinda, in Germany you get the fully equipped Corvette. So in the front we got 19-inch alloys, but in the back we got the 20-inch alloys. And that also stresses this dramatic feeling and the outlook. What hardly anyone realizes is that it's not such a long and not such a broad car. I was expecting also to have problems to go in the basement garage, but without the side mirrors, it's only 1.87 meters wide and only 4.48 meters long. So it's not such a massive car, and as I was going in the basement garage, I was wondering, oh, it's pretty easy. I don't have to pay attention to the sides. And also when you have a parking box, it's also not a problem. So this is not too unpractical in everyday life actually. The rear lights have a little bit some kind of transformer style in my opinion. And then of course, what is the most remarkable things, the 4 pipes at the rear end, usually they are split 2 and 2 at the most, very powerful sports cars. And here they are all 4 on 1, and that's very impressive. Something different, and I like it when something is different than the ordinary. So one of the most important things here is of course the engine. And I love it when an engine cover, the hood, opens in that kind of way. It always reminds me of the Jaguar E-Type, and you know, also the Jaguar F-Type has that one. It's just so lovely. And come and take a closer look here. I think it's a beautiful engine cover design here. This one here is a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated petrol engine, and I love it if it's still naturally aspirated because it has better sound. And I'm not too much a fan of this very new downsized turbo petrol engines because they often don't consume less fuel. This one here is 466 horsepower. That's really enough. I think you never lack any horsepower. 630 Newton meters of torque is the figure at that point, and 4.2 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles. We are showing you that quite soon, but before we go to that action, look here. I love these details. You know, the sound isolation here also has this stamped logo inside. This is something very special in my opinion, because you know what I'm used from Chevrolet is that they build pretty, you know, simple cars, and I wasn't too astonished of these cars. But this one looks like it comes from a totally different brand. This one is the first sign. Some else we will also see it in the interior. But now let's see what this engine is really capable of. You know, it's a manual transmission, so sorry if I didn't put the shifting times perfectly. I'm not, you know, the best shifter in the world, but I hope I didn't fail too much and you like how I did this 0 to 200 kilometers or 0 to 125 miles acceleration. To the inside of the car, there's a reason why we start here in the rear, because we will also remove the cover. So trunk opens here. It's also always very impressive if you like maybe go shopping and then open the trunk in that kind of way. And you see, you asked me to just put some stuff in there, that you don't just see an empty space, you see what really fits in there. And actually at the first look you think, oh my god, there's no way anything fits in there, but it is possible. And even a big suitcase, you know, there are special nets here that, you know, it doesn't touch the glass, and it doesn't, here another net, it's an L form, that you aren't attacked by your own luggage when braking very hard. But actually this trunk has a very good use, and you can put different large suitcases in there. Really, I've tested it, and you see, for example, here with a backpack. And it's, you know, it's not too limited as it seems. So with the Coupé version, this one is very good. Of course, when you got the convertible version, you have less space here in the back. But of course, you have the disadvantage that you don't drive with open top so often, because you also have to take this one down. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. So, how to remove this hardtop at the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray C7. You see, it's carbon fiber, very beautiful, very nice racing style, and it's also quite light. I would recommend it to do this with 2 people, because another one can pick the other side then. However, because it is light, it is possible to do it on your own as well, and I will try that here now. I would first open the trunk. Looks very impressive again, I think, because you have to put it in there. There's a special feature that you can really put it safely there. And then you better open both doors, that you have a lot of space. And then we move on to the interior. So we first put both sunshades down. Then there are 2 levers here, 1, 2. And we move them like this, 1, 2. Then there's a third over here and we press it here. A little bit loud, but that's perfectly fine. And then it's kind of loose already. But we better get out then. And then it starts to get real interesting because you see it's loose. And well, either two people, you know, you put two hands here and someone else puts two hands there. That's the easiest way actually, because you now have to put it in your own hand, and I think that's the best way, to put your hand here so you can also lift it on your own. And then we go to the trunk. You now have to watch out that the front side also, you know, this is kind of the order that was fixed. The front side also has to face the front of the vehicle. And now you see there are two kind of open spaces. You know, see it at the right side here, also the left side. And now you have to find these open spaces here. Actually, it's not necessary that you hear a sound there in the front, because it just lays down there. The important part, as it is like here now, maybe remember that image here. The important part is near in the back now. You just push it, and then it's already fixed. And so you can also drive fast, it's no problem. And then later, when you want to install it again, don't have to be gentle there, and just pull it here, and then you can pull it out again. It's really not that complicated. At the first time maybe yes, but for the second time it's kind of easy. And because it's easier, especially when setting it in again, to do it with two people, our other Thomas is here now as well and helps me to put this one in again. So you have to watch out. Put the rear end first. Okay. Rear end first, and then sit. And now again in the interior. Here the rear end here. We push it till the back, so it's fixed here. And these two, then it's fixed. So I would say you can take it out on your own, that would work, but putting it back again, I really had a hard time to do it on my own, so this is really better with two people. So what is really astonishing, in my opinion, is not only the power, but also the interior. I was totally surprised by the interior, because, you know, what you usually expect from a Chevrolet, nothing special in the interior, but this one is really high class, it's premium, it's luxury. And you can compare it to any other, for example, German premium manufacturer. It's even better, in my opinion. Everything is really refined. Chevrolet says that they also paid attention that every line is, you know, connected very well to each other, and there aren't these special gaps you see when, you know, something flows to each other. And I think this really works here. Starting with the seats, we got these racing seats here. Textile structure on the inside. This is, I'm not sure what material it is, but it's so soft, but it gives you still support at the same time. It's great stuff really, and I would always go for these seats, definitely. They also have these carbon structures here, so they're really beautiful and have this racing style, and also they got the black cover in the back. In general, you know, they look uncomfortable at the first sight. And they give you great support here at the sides. You can also change how much support you really get from here, but they are actually not that uncomfortable. So I would have expected that I get lower back pain or something, especially when you're rather tall, but due to these very well done seats, it's actually no problem also to go a longer route. In general, of course, you sit very low, you have direct connection to the street, and this one gives this very sporty feeling. And then also the rest of the cockpit here. We first got this touchscreen here. By the way, we have space here and also a USB slot. So it's a very clever idea I think. And about the rest, you have the touchscreen here. For example, you can connect your telephone, Bluetooth, also hear the music. And you got this very nice connection between, for example, last calls here. And then you can also use the buttons, not only the touchscreen but also the buttons. And that's very interesting again, very interesting detail, because just the feeling of the buttons and also the sound they make, they are also pretty much refined. And because it's all very short distances here, for example, when you have your hand on the shifting lever, you can, for example, steer it with this button here, choose GPS if you press the button, or just use the touchscreen. So there are a lot of possibilities for however you want to use it. So I'm pretty convinced also of this multimedia system. And also very nice, if I can show it here, I'm putting on the engine, the climate control here. It reminds me of the Jaguar F-Type, but I don't think that they here stole from Jaguar. I think it's maybe the other way around. Here you can put the climate. You got a small glass cover here, which looks very beautiful. And also here for the intensity of the climate function. So everything is, you know, it's not too much, but it's also, it's not overdone, but you find everything you need. As I said, it's the highest trim level here, and we also got this Z51 performance package. So we got everything you can ever dream of in here. Even here, seat cooling for the co-driver, 3 levels. Seat heating for the co-driver, 3 levels. And of course, for myself as a driver, I also got seat cooling and the seat heating. Then again, my favorite here, turning on the engine, don't want to use more fuel. My favorite is this steering wheel. It's so awesome. I love Alcantara steering wheels because you got better grip and still you got this very soft feeling. So no matter if you want to cruise or rather go racing, it's always great to have this Alcantara steering wheel. Also here on the inside, we got this aluminium look, which is also very beautiful. The color, the buttons here for the sound, more sound, less sound. It's also just from the sound how the buttons made. It's all so refined, and I'm so really amazed of this interior. Look at the dashboard. No, I think it's artificial leather, but you know, I don't care. I think it would be even better if it's really artificial leather. Then you got the Stingray structure here in the front, also on the dashboard. So these small details add so much to this car. Carbon fiber here. So I'm really a fan of this interior, I must say, one of the best interiors I've seen lately. By the way, to get out of the car again, you have to push the button here, and then it's possible to open the door. You have to find that first. But there are also manual functions to open the doors. They're hidden here, down there, and also one in the trunk. So we will start driving now. Of course, with open top, you know, I'm a convertible fan. I've put the windows up now because it's a better sound than for you. Otherwise, I would have put them down. Now when we start slowly here on the rough road, we really have to go it slow, you know, because we don't have so much ground clearance in this car, of course. So we really have to be careful that, you know, you don't damage the car from the downside. That is one disadvantage, of course, when driving this car. You really have to watch out also when you face speed bumps, for example. You have to go very, very slowly that you don't damage the car. And then we will start driving because no one else wants to do it. So there are different kind of driving modes here. For example, now we got a tour mode, and I'm just waiting on my colleague because he's following me. We got tour mode here, and this tour mode, you know, also there's an environmental friendly mode, the eco mode. You rather operate with low RPMs then, and the traction control is very active, so you don't have so much wheel spin. When it is wet, it's rather dangerous. You really have to watch out. There's also a weather mode, weather driving mode, that the traction control is even more active. But still, when it's wet, it's hard that you don't get wheel spin in the back. And then, you know, we have this turning button here. And then you can, for example, this is it's a tour mode now. And then if you go even further right, you can put it to sport or even to the track mode. And then the traction control gets kind of, not fully deactivated, but kind of deactivated. More wheel spin in the back is possible actually, and the exhaust changes as well. So you have a better sound then You see, these are rough roads here now, and you really feel the suspension is so stiff. It's not bad, I would say, but it's very, very stiff. You have to get used to this very sporty feeling. And now when I'm in the track mode, especially for dry conditions, I can also just put the throttle down and we have an amazing sound. I'm just waiting on the good chance to do it. Okay, watch out. That's really so nice. Always nice to hear the sound of this naturally aspirated engine. So this is one of the major changes here, sound, and then also the traction control. So when you're in this track mode, you really can spin the back around. That's a lot of fun actually, also in corners, but you always have to have the situation, you know. Maybe it's the best also to just do it on the racetrack, of course. Then the steering wheel also changes. Now in the track mode, we got direct response from the steering wheel. That's really a lot of fun. Great steering wheel, also great steering habits. But then again, when we go back to the track mode, you know, everything is a little bit more loose, and like from -2 to 2 degrees, hardly anything happens with the steering. So this is really for relaxed driving, and also when you try to park, for example, then you get really relaxed steering, and it's very easy to steer it. And maybe also if someone drives the car for the very first time, that's also better than. But then again, when we want to accelerate here, we also go to the track mode again, and then we have this great sound. Wow, that is really cool. And you know, you shouldn't do it in the city because it's really very loud. But of course, you know, when you're in the countryside, you can have a lot of fun with that. Let me sum this car up for you. I was really surprised of the great interior. They've done such a great job there, and this makes this racing feeling in the interior and also high quality. From the outside you got this very dramatic outlook, and I think all the Corvette fans especially love this one. Well, this is a car, hardly any other car arouses so much attention. You have to be aware of that. That can be good or also be bad depending on your view. The power, of course, it consumes too much, as always. 13 liters, 14 liters, you shouldn't wonder about that one. But you got this really great power and the nice sound from a naturally aspirated engine, this very classic engine. So I was really amazed by this car, especially by the quality, and had a lot of fun driving it. The suspension is of course very sporty, so if you don't want it that rough, you should maybe pick that car. If you are fine with this kind of rough suspension, the suspension is not bad, just rough, then it's the right car for you. You can, like from the price, you can compare to the BMW M4, that's the same price and also kind of the same horsepower, but of course it's a totally different concept. If you want so much horsepower in other cars, you would have to go for a 911 Carrera GTS or maybe Jaguar F-Type R, but then you're already at like 120,000 euros, so way more expensive than that one. So it's a very great way to get a lot of horsepower for a rather reasonable price, and this one is still one of the strengths of this Corvette.